Everyone, welcome back to another episode of Guitar of the Day. I'm your host, Michael Lemo, and today it is Thumpin' Thursday.
Woo!
And we got my great friend back, Mr. Greg Coates. How you doing, Greg?
I am firing on all 8 cylinders.
Yes. What?
Or 4 cylinders, I guess.
Yeah.
With my strings.
At least you're rocking and rolling. It's good to have you back. What have you been up to?
Oh gosh, well, in the middle of mixing a bunch of records.
Yep, we have a record coming out. We just mixed all the tape, actually. Analog tape.
Ooh.
And it's pretty rocking.
Cut live in the studio.
Yeah, cut live with Kenny on drums. Kenny Cash, our good friend. Who
Wait,
works
don't you
there.
guys have a show?
Oh, and we have a show coming up November 23rd.
Yes.
Yeah.
Saturday.
11 p.m. at the Viper Room.
It's only $10, so grab
Only
your
$10.
tickets.
Grab tickets. It's going to be awesome.
Where can they buy tickets on?
Online, Eventbrite,
On your website?
on our website,
MichaelLemo.com?
or at the store, right?
Yeah, you can do it at the store.
Yeah, we're at the store,
Yeah.
which is
So-
really cool.
Yes.
So come on out. But we do have a really... Oh, go ahead.
Playing a bunch of ferocious new tunes.
Yeah, there are a lot of new songs.
Exciting stuff.
It is
I'm
exciting.
excited. We're all gonna be there,
A little more
so.
raw, a little more guttural, a little more, visceral stuff. Like, yeah,
Let him
Oh,
do the promo.
it's that time.
he should do the promo.
He is doing the promo. Well, we have a really cool bass, do we not?
This is really cool. It's a rare one.
And
You
it's from, that latch might be broken. But this one is from 1978. It's a Gibson RD Artist bass in black.
Ooh, okay.
It's kind of a wild thing. And it's heavy, but it sounds amazing.
There's a lot of knobs on there.
All right, Greg, break it down for us. What's going on here?
Okay, white
It's an ebony
switch.
board?
Yeah, it is. It is an ebony board.
That's
Yeah,
really
this
good.
was a deluxe model back then. This was kind of the pinnacle of their bass design. It was using Moog, M-O-O-G, that synthesizer, basically designed active electronics and compression and expander circuit in there. So they were
Wow.
kind of entering.
Whoa.
They're entering the arena of the boutique bass at this time, where Alembic had kind of started that whole thing, and they actually, I think, had some help from people who did work at Alembic, maybe Rick Turner at this point, doing some bass design. This and the Victory bass were their long scale efforts that were really kind of futuristic and modern, which trying to keep up with the way music was evolving through the 70s and then into the 80s and I guess post Van Halen era, where everything changed as far as electric guitar design, and even bass design started becoming more involved. So this is still a very modern sounding instrument, even by
It really is.
by today's standards. And the fact that this actually works and the neck's in one piece and everything's good, this is a rare instrument. You don't see these very often, and it's probably most famous for destroying Chris Novoselic's face on the early MTV Awards show.
Nirvana bass, but really sounds cool. And like you said, you can get some really wild tones without even pedals on this thing. Somebody carved in their social security or their driver's license numbers, which means they loved it. We've seen this on really even old Fenders and stuff. People used to do that because they didn't want to lose it for anything. And you got this big panel back here, which is for those Moog electronics.
They replaced the bridge too. The 3-point bridge
Oh, yeah.
replaced with a hip shot. Really, really way better design than the 3-point Gibson bridge. It's way more accurate intonation. You can adjust the spacing. It's definitely a huge upgrade.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it really. I was surprised. I have a friend who has a couple of these, and you rarely see these, and you rarely get to play them. So it was a real treat. So if you want a really cool bass that would be great in the studio, like direct into the board or into an amp live, this thing will give you a literal litany of tones.
Hell yeah.
If
You
you
want
like-
to show them?
Yeah, if I can carry it.
Let's do it. Good to have you back, Greg.
Go. Woo!
Hey everybody, it's Greg Coates here at Norman's Rare Guitars, showing off a Gibson RD Artist bass, 1978. Yes, this giant chunk of wood with all kinds of crazy gadgetry built in. Some of you may, if you're around the early 90s, may have remembered this making its probably most memorable performance, hitting Chris Novoselic in the face. Great bass though, nonetheless. You don't see many of these. Growing up in Kalamazoo, I saw a couple floating around, and a good buddy of mine out here who does frequent the store has a collection of these because he loves them because they're such odd and rare instruments. The electronics work in this one, which is awesome. Headstock and with the volute and everything is great condition. Everything's really super clean. A little bit of buckle rash. Someone was kind enough to put their social security number here. The driver's license number is right there. Cool little relics of ownership here. The bridge has been replaced by a hip shot replacement, which is actually a much better design than the 3-point bridge that Gibson had. This is a great upgrade, and I'll walk you through all the electronics gadgetry here real quickly. Took me a minute. I had to find it online because I knew it was pretty complicated. This is kind of the era that I think possibly Rick Turner was involved in, but this is a Moog circuit, Moog like synthesizers circuit built into here that's an analog, basically EQ as well as compression and expansion circuit. It's pretty interesting. And one thing that's really cool I haven't seen on another instrument was these two knobs below that normally would function as like tone controls. They do function as active tone controls in this position in the middle here, which is the black knob, which is the controls for the electronics on board. This is your typical pickup selector switch here, bridge, both, neck. And the black switch actually in neutral position controls these two bottom controls, which have a 0 in the middle and 1 to 5 and 1 to 5 both ways. I've never seen these knobs on anything else. Pretty cool. It's instead of putting a detemp position pot in there, they actually just put the numbers on the knob so you can see where you are. But this actually, in the middle position with the black, in the middle position, actually this is a bass control, is either a boost or a cut. This is a treble control that's either a boost or cut, 1 to 5. So what we'll do is we'll walk through all the differences. This switch in the back position actually activates the compression expansion circuit. Well, this is what it sounds like, just flat. Really big woolly Gibson sound, but it's a long scale, so it's got a lot more clarity, a lot more punch to it. Pickups, so there's no hum at all. Kind of EMG looking kind of pickups. They're epoxy, resin pickups that are humbucking and really high output. But in this position back or away from the neck is the expansion and the compression circuit. I'll walk you through the difference here. That sounds like the expansion circuit because it adds both top and bottom. And if you're taking it all the way back, boosted. Really good for. And that's so if you don't have a compressor, you've got one on board if you want it. Now this one back here, I believe, is also. This is the compression. You can hear it. You can hear the hiss. That's typically what compression does. You'll hear a little bit of noise in the background. Back there, kind of in conjunction with the other control, is like a tone compression expander mixer, like between those two controls. So there's a lot, just with that one setting, you have a lot of tonal variation. And then you can change the pickups, obviously, too, on top of that. That's the bridge pickup with everything engaged full blast. Both pickups engaged with full blast with both compression and the expansion circuitry, and then the neck. You can really hear that. You can really hear the compression just seize on that. So it's a really active compressor. Pretty cool. I mean, both live and in studio, you could really get a lot of really extreme sounds with this, and there's a lot of control right at your hands. So we'll go to the middle position on the black switch, which controls the electronics on board rather than the three-way selector. This control is the bass control. It's real hot. Making the Fender work for it today. And then this is the treble control. If you add the compression circuit on top of that, this forward, the black switch that controls the electronics, is the bright mode. So if your strings are dying, if you got flat wounds on it and you want a little bit more point to the note, you got this, the bright setting. Lots of toys on here, lots of little gadgetry devices to change your sound, change the character of the sound, the kind of the width and the dynamics of each note too. So this is a really big step forward for Gibson in this era, late 70s, 78 in particular, that they needed to kind of catch up with how music was evolving. Because Gibson has a little more old world, more violin family, more folk instrument kind of approach to design building, rather than Fender being more of a modular, military industrial complex, automotive kind of component point of reference as far as how their design goes. So this was a rare instrument, but also a really forward-thinking instrument that was kind of combined ideas from maybe alembic possibly and some other things that would come to follow. So we'll play a few songs. I'm tuned down a half step. I'm going to drop it down to some C sharp and play a few Nirvana tunes, because this was the only bass that I know, the only player I know that actually played these actively was Chris Novoselic. So give me a second here. We'll dial some tones in. I think I got a couple things in mind. What I need is the Gibson robot tuners for this. Let's see, it'll be all set. No. Oh boy, that's loud. Some pretty extreme sounds out of this thing. Yeah, you probably wouldn't need any effects pedals if you had this. You get this all on board. Compression, expanding with both pickups on. Well, here, I'll run you through the pickups first. This is the bridge pickup on its own with everything turned off, all of the circuitries in neutral. Turn my distortion off, sorry. This is just the bridge pickup on its own. Both pickups. So there's a litany of sounds on this thing. Like I said, you probably wouldn't need any effects pedals if you had this in your hands. Really cool bass, great shape. The neck's 100% solid condition. The electronics work on board, which isn't always easy to find with these, because people leave batteries in things, and as things that don't get maintained, they tend to go the way of the dodo. But this is a really cool bass with a ton of tones in it. Sounds great. really loud, and you can get some of the traditional sounds, but it's kind of meant to be a hot rodded sound, and it definitely feels like it's got machinery on board. It's a dense, super solid bass you can really dig into. And get some great traditional sounds out of it as well. Check it out.
Hey, wait a second. I want to interrupt you.
Okay.
When Chris threw the bass up in the air, hit himself in the head, was he looking for one of the sounds that this bass couldn't provide?
Maybe one that was in his head that he was trying to knock loose. I don't know.
Well, if I don't sell this bass, I'm going to try to do the same thing. So somebody better buy it to save me from hitting myself in the head.
It's a dangerous weapon. It kind of looks like an axe. I mean,
All right. Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Greg
Really.
Coates over here. So.
Woo!
thanks, man. No, this thing's great. And, yeah, it's got a.
Wow.
It's got a lot of character. This is definitely something that you can get a lot of tones out of, and it's good to have a bass like this because it's got everything you need and things you don't need. Come on down to Norman's and check it out. Don't get hit in the head. Bring a helmet.
That's awesome. Okay.